Yes, guys, welcome to AdamMcKola TV. I'm Adam, I'm back. This is another weekly United, except it's a weekly United with a difference because I've been away for a while, so it's going to be more like a monthly United. We'll be looking back at what's gone on and I'll be giving you my opinion on all things Manchester United at the moment as we head into the pre-season tour of Australia and Asia and Europe as well. United seem to be going all over the place this pre-season, which is interesting. I'm going to be heading out to Australia and Singapore, not doing the full pre-season tour as it's quite an expensive one, and you know what, I need to spend some time at home as well before the season kicks off. But we will be there in Australia and in Singapore for those games, so make sure you're keeping it locked for more on that. But today, we're just discussing all things Manchester United. Wan Bissaka and Daniel James have become Manchester United players. We'll be looking at the other transfer rumours of potential ins, potential outs, and of course, looking at what's gone on with the Glazers Out protests, the pre-season tour coming up, and everything else Manchester United in between. I am AdamMcKola, if you don't know already. This is AdamMcKola TV. We've been quiet recently, but we're back again now. Get hitting that subscribe button, liking, commenting and sharing. Anyway, first things first, we'll talk about the new boys. Wan Bissaka has joined the club in a potential £50 million deal, and Daniel James has joined the club as well in a potential £18 million deal. Up front, I think it's around 60 million for United, 45 million on Wan Bissaka, 15 million on Daniel James, and both have potential add-ons which could bring their fees up. But let's just talk about the players themselves. The first signing for Manchester United this summer was Daniel James. Now, I don't know an awful lot about him. I haven't watched a whole host of games with Daniel James in them, but from what I've seen, he looks like a decent, talented youngster with pace, with trickery, with great assets for a winger, and someone that I'm sure will excite Manchester United players because he's going to have that young enthusiasm that when he gets the ball, no fear, I'm going to start running at people. Now, he came to Manchester United at a difficult time. He'd just lost his father, so the transfer was delayed. He was also involved with Wales as well out in the internationals. So his transfer was initially delayed, but then it got confirmed and Daniel James was a red. I think with him, it's kind of like a no-lose situation. The fee's not massive, which is weird because I'm saying £18 million isn't massive. 18 million with add-ons now, but nowadays it isn't massive. You could sell him in a few years if the move didn't go to plan and recoup most of your money. And if the move does go to plan, you get an absolute bargain. So for me, it's a no-brainer by Manchester United to bring him in. If you think he's a talented player, why wait for him to make another move, prove himself there, and then be sniffing around him, looking at an 80, £100 million fee like we have potentially done with other players. So it makes sense for Manchester United to bring in Daniel James. And Wan Bissaka also makes a whole host of sense as well for Manchester United, in my opinion, because he's just a fantastic player. I said it in the 3 in 3 out that we did for full-time Devils. We did a number of them over the last 12 to 18 months. And I think in the last 12 months, I've mentioned him 2 or 3 times in 3 in 3 outs that I want him to be brought in at Manchester United. Now the fee, 45 million plus 5 million in add-ons, will bring it to £50 million. And like I said with Daniel James, yes, it's a massive fee. I don't think he's worth being Manchester United's most valuable defender ever. I don't think he's at the level that Rio was at when we signed him from Leeds. But when you take into consideration everything, you're getting an English player from a Premier League team that don't really need to sell for money. It's bound to push the fee up a little bit. You bring into the fact that Manchester United need to sign players. You bring into the fact that we're Manchester United anyway. It makes sense that the fee is going to jump up and jump up. And to get that business done, get him signed up just after the under-21s tournament and brought into Manchester United. It didn't develop into a saga, although I know everybody, on social media was getting fed up and announced Wan Bissaka and all this. It didn't develop into a saga, and we got our man. And he's someone, again, if he's a success, 5 to 10 years, he'll give you down that right-hand side. He's a player that has it all. I do think he could do better going forward, and we'll look to get improvements out of him on that. But as a fullback, your first priority is defending. He's very good at recovery tackles. He's very good at tackles, clearances, tracking back, interceptions. He's a quality fullback, and he's a player that's only going to improve. Hopefully he can handle the pressure of playing for Manchester United, but by all accounts he's a quite level-headed lad. And I think the profile of the players Manchester United are bringing in are the right profile. Manchester United have never been a club that buy Galacticos. We make Galacticos. And over the last couple of years, we've tried to chase quick fixes and buying players that will just bring in, that will, we're going to win everything now. Whereas we need to build something. And I kind of like what I'm seeing from Ole Gunnar Solskjaer in that aspects, in terms of bringing in players that are going to be here for the future, that are going to have potential, that are going to be hungry and want to help improve the team. Of course, the Manchester United side is missing some experience though, particularly at centre-half, and we'll talk about centre-half later, as Manchester United spending could hit £200 million and over. Now, that sounds like a lot, but when you consider the kind of money that Philippe Coutinho went for, when you consider players are worth £100 million these days alone, maybe it's not. But Manchester United could be spending around £200 million, and I'll tell you why. Look at the reports, the rumours. These are all based on rumours. I don't know anything. I am not in the know. But I'm thinking, look, United have spent 45 million on Wan Bissaka with a potential 5 million more. 15 million on Daniel James with a potential 3 million more. So up front, we've paid 60 million for these players. We've been linked with Longstaff, who could cost around 25 million pounds. That would be a central midfielder that brings your spending to 80 million pounds. Bring in Fernandes, potentially Bruno Fernandes been linked with the club. Again, these are all rumours, these are all reports. I'm basing it off the gossip that's already out there. If we brought him in, it'd be 50 million pounds. It'd be that creative midfielder, goal scoring, kind of eye for goal player that we need in that midfield area to help Paul Pogba. And then we've been linked with Harry Maguire. Now it's believed the bidding for him could go up to 80 million pounds, which would see 155 spent on Longstaff, Fernandes and Maguire. Then you're looking at Daniel James for 15 million. That's 170. And Wan Bissaka for 45. That's 215 million pounds that could potentially be spent by Manchester United. And then, as we've heard reportedly as well, any other ins would be dependent on players going out. Now, we could see Lukaku leaving. There's been lots of speculation around him. Darmian's been linked with a move to Serie A as well, which is very interesting. And those are the kind of players that we could see leaving Manchester United. But around £215 million could be spent by the club this summer. And is that enough to bring Manchester United into contention, to get back into those top four spots and eventually become a team that's going to challenge and win the title? Now let's look at those names that I just mentioned. Longstaff, interesting one. Now I think he's a talented player. He's obviously got good ability on the ball. He's got a good eye for a pass. Many people have compared him to Michael Carrick, and I can see why. £25 million, much like Daniel James, isn't that much of a risk. Is he proven? No. Is he the experience that we kind of want to get at the moment? We've got Matic in that middle of the park. He's not going to get any better, any fitter. So maybe the young legs thing is something that we need to do, but we've got a lot of inexperience in there. McTominay is another one as well, who's playing in that midfield area. So is Longstaff the experienced player we probably need? No. But is he a player that could improve? Again, ticks all those boxes, hungry, got potential, etc. And he's been linked with the club for a while. Now it'll be interesting to see what happens with the managerial position at Newcastle before we see what happens with Longstaff's future. Another player that's been linked with the club, Bruno Fernandes. Now, I would only be happy with us signing Longstaff if we sign another midfield. We need more than one in there. Now, if we sign Longstaff and we don't sign anyone else, it's going to be a long season. But if we bring in Longstaff alongside someone like Bruno Fernandes, could that be the one? Now, I've not watched Sporting Lisbon too much, but when you look at his stats and everything, they're pretty good stats. His goals, his assists, he creates a lot of chances and he's scoring a lot of goals. And he's the kind of player that could link up well with Paul Pogba, help link up the attackers in the midfield and bring that pressure off Paul Pogba a little bit. I think if you bring the pressure off him, he'll perform a lot better. And Fernandes could be that guy again, a young player that's going to improve, going to get better. Sporting Lisbon have been looking for 70, 80, 90 million pounds, but they're never going to get that for him. And it's rumoured that 50, 60 million pounds could get the man. United have been linked with him, Liverpool have been linked with him, Spurs have been linked with him, a lot of British teams have been linked with him, English teams have been linked with him, and his agent's apparently around trying to get a deal. I think Sporting are hoping for a deal, hoping to capitalise and cash in on him after that magnificent season, but will it be Manchester United that he arrives at? I'm not too sure, but another potential player that could be joining the club. And the rumours are United are hoping to get Fernandes and Maguire wrapped up before pre-season starts, which would take a lot of business to get done very quickly, but stranger things have happened. Now, Maguire's an interesting one, I've got to say. I don't know how I feel on this one, because when you look at Maguire, his improvement on what we've got in defence, he's a leader from defence. He can bring the ball out of defence well. He's proven in the Premier League. He's experienced at international level. He's ticking a lot of the boxes. He's young as well. He's going to get better. But something just, I don't know what it is. I'd take him at Manchester United if you're asking me, do you want Harry Maguire? But for the money we're talking about, I think this has the potential of becoming a transfer that is laughed at. But it could become a transfer that is applauded, much like the Virgil van Dijk one. But I'm not sure Maguire's at that level. It will remain to be seen. We obviously haven't seen him tested at the top level. I'm not saying no disrespect to Leicester City, but Harry Maguire's been linked with United. We've made a £70 million bid, which has been knocked back, and they want £80-90 million for him. That's a world record fee for a centre half. Is he worth that? Probably not. Does he improve our defence? Yes. Do you really care about money and what's spent by clubs these days? No. As long as it's not in the Glazers' pockets, I couldn't care less. So if you're bringing in a player that improves our team, the transfer fee doesn't really matter to me. But £80 million, I'm pretty sure there's more value in the market there. I'm pretty sure there is. But that kind of, quote, value in the market and all that stuff has got us in trouble before. It's been the reason we haven't signed players in the past, and it's been a reason we've been left in a position we're in at the moment. So it's a weird one in regards to the transfer fee, but in terms of Harry Maguire, I'd get him because he obviously improves our defence. Now, who will be leaving United now? If you had to tell me players that are going to leave, I'd say Darmian. No offence, Darmian, don't mind him, decent lad, but I'd take Darmian out, bring someone like Fosu Mensah back into the fray. Marcus Rojo, sell him. Bring Axel Tuanzebe into the fray at Manchester United. I think if you bring Axel in, he immediately becomes one of our best top 3 centre-halves for the season he had last season, and the season our defenders had last season. I think Tuanzebe's quality. Signed a new contract recently as well. So is he going to go back out on loan to Aston Villa, or is he going to stay with United? I'm not too sure. Now, if he's going to play for United, and like I said, he's going to be valued and put up there as one of our best centre-halves, like he should be, then he should stay. But if he's not, and he's going to have to, bide his time and all that, I think you're better off just giving him that Premier League experience with Villa. They owe him a little bit of loyalty because of the season he had last season. And I think if he stays, he continues to start. So it's an interesting one. What do we do with him? He's obviously going to go on a pre-season tour with United. So I hope he does well, and I hope he says, I'm here to stay at Manchester United and you don't need to send me out on loan again. Now, the summer has been absolutely mental, from people going into meltdown over Jesse Lingard's Snapchats. Now, what is all that about? If you don't want to watch his Snapchat or his Instagram, don't follow him on Instagram or Snapchat. Footballers having fun on holiday. You know what? Even if they've had a bad season, so what? You see Declan Rice, who plays for West Ham, who are a mid-table side, jaws swinging, having fun. But Jesse Lingard, who, as far as I know, keeps himself quite fit, doesn't drink too much. In the off-season, is looking after himself, has a little bit of fun. People's piss is boiled. Paul Pogba dances with his brother. People's piss is boiled. It's a real weird one to me. You just need to get over it and stop following him on social media. And the people that say, he's a role model to kids and all that, if you can't raise your own kids and you're relying on footballers, who a lot of them are just young lads, then that's your problem, not their problem. The summer, though, has been dominated by Glazer Out chat. Now, it's a conversation we've had from 2005. I've always been anti-Glazer. I've always been against what they've, identified at United, which is just leeches, taking money out of the club left, right and centre. I've been vocal about that for a long time, and you know, saying they're bad for the club, we would have been further ahead. And many of those times in recent years, I've been criticised for it and said, oh, we still won trophies with them, etc., etc. But I remember when we replaced Moyes, got Van Gaal, didn't have the best of summers, and I lost my head because it was clear that there was mismanagement at Manchester United. And I did a fan cam review for Full Time Devils, saying many of the things that people are now saying. Now look, I'm a little bit of a hypocrite because I still put money into their pockets in terms of the fact that I go to games, but I'm the kind of guy that will be supportive of Man United regardless of who the owners are, regardless of who the players are, regardless of what league we're in, etc., etc. If I was gonna, you know, not go to games and stuff, probably would have done it then in 2005 or whenever. This protest is interesting. It's born out of frustration because of the lack of success. I do think if we were successful last season and won a double, none of this comes about now. And I think it's good that people are opening their eyes to what the Glazers are doing to Manchester United and have been doing to Manchester United. I think that part of it's good. Now, in terms of the actual protest, what will it achieve? I'm not too sure. What does, you know, I think, what does it, because you can't get the Glazers out without having £3 to £4 billion. You're not going to get rid of them without being able to buy them out. So protesting against them is great. Making your voices heard against them is great. But ultimately, what does it achieve? Probably nothing, unless you're raising them funds to buy them, and unless there's a willingness to sell there. Now, there's rumours there is a willingness to sell there. But you look at some of the potential takeovers that could happen, it's out of the frying pan and into the fire. You know what I mean? So it's not like any other potential owners are all saints as well. So it's a weird one. I can't stand the Glazers. I wish they never had anything to do with Manchester United, and I can't wait for the day they are no longer associated with the club. But in terms of protesting again, I don't know how it gets them out now, because if they were going to get turned away from the club, it would have happened in 2005, it would have happened in 2010. Now, obviously, if you guys or anyone that's running the protest has an idea and they want to let their voices be heard in a succinct manner and in a sensible manner, and they've got some sort of, you know, protest plan, then feel free to get in touch with Full Time Devils, and we'll give you the platform to be able to say that to hundreds of thousands of Manchester United fans. So obviously, there's that if you have an idea, but in my opinion, this protest isn't getting rid of them, because you need the money to get rid of them. You need the billions to get rid of them. And protesting is great, making your voice heard is great, but I do feel if we were successful and if we were winning trophies, this wouldn't be happening. And for that, I think it's a bit mad, because regardless of whether we're being successful or not, it's just masking over the fact that the Glazers are leeching out of Man United. They came in, they've taken the club, never put any penny of their own in, and they've taken it all out. From a business perspective, it's shrewd what they've done. But obviously people look at football clubs from emotional side of things, and it's crazy, man. But I've been saying it for a long time. Check that when we lost against Swansea, I did a fan cam for Full Time Devils, and I was saying all the same things. It's been obvious since 2005, but it's been more obvious when we sold Ronaldo and replaced him with Obertan, Valencia and Owen. Anyway, guys, thank you for watching Full Time Devils. See, this is how long it has been since I've done a video for AdamMcKola TV. Thank you for watching AdamMcKola TV. Make sure you like and comment and share and subscribe, and I'll be back very, very soon. Remember, I'm in Australia and Singapore as well, so I'll have content from those places for you here on AdamMcKola TV and on Full Time Devils, so keep it locked to both. For now, see you later.